Yeah. All right. What's up, everybody? We are here with another Chefing and Shit Talking. Kyra, and we have our guest, Danny Popowski.
For those who don't know Danny, Salt Lake City resident, originally from the East Coast, Maryland. And he's been a staple community member here in Salt Lake because I think you really originated the move to Salt Lake. Weren't we talking about this?
It was a Griffin Whiteside move at first, and then I followed.
What year was this?
And then 2012.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, I moved here in 2019. You moved here
2021.
There was a whole Salt Lake world before you guys
I know.
showed up.
Yeah.
What was Salt Lake before us? Non-existent?
A lot more skiing and way fewer hard indoor boulders.
Okay.
And sport routes, but I don't like commenting on that.
All right. Well, for tonight for dinner, we're going to have spring rolls, both warm and cold/raw.
Yeah.
And yeah, so let's get to the cooking.
Really easy.
Okay, so first things first, to get into it now, we have to give a rating to the food. What would you rate it? 1 out of 10. 10 is like that sushi restaurant you were telling us about.
I'm thinking a solid 8.
8?
The
Nice.
crunch to the fried rolls was pretty good.
All right.
I think if the fried rolls didn't fall apart, they would have been bomb.
super good, yeah.
But-
You just flexed when you did that?
Exactly.
They would have been bomb. All right, cool. 8 out of 10. We have a good record going right now.
I feel like people are
Chris.
lying.
They all 8s?
I don't know. Probably not an 8 out of 10 on the Michelin star scale, but
That's an
but
8
for
out of
the
10
home-cooked
on the
meal.
Home cooked.
8.5 on the spring roll scale.
Oh,
you know?
No. What about like the
Overall?
meal?
On general, just like meals you've had, like compared to like the chicken I've cooked for you.
What are you
Drunk
saying?
chicken.
A high? If that's Chris's chicken has to be one of the best things I've ever had. Even though it's not all the way cooked through, but that's the secret to the chicken.
They trained me.
That's true. Still
7.
7?
7,
Wow,
8,
okay,
7,
okay.
8.
I'll take the 7.
Still
We'll
very
keep
good.
it. We'll
The
keep
7's
it.
realistic.
Very good.
It was
Yeah.
tasty.
All right, so let's get into the stuff. Let's explain who you are, Danny.
All right. So, I guess to start, I grew up in Maryland, and I started climbing when I was 8. So that means I've been climbing for, 22 years?
Damn.
23 years now?
Fuck.
Everybody's going to get... I'm not going to tell you how old I am in case the math is
That's
wrong.
how old Chris is.
That's
Yeah.
older than you.
I'm 22.
So if it's
So-
23 years.
Yeah, let's hope it's 23.
That's it.
So I can have that on you at least. And then I moved out here in 2012 to go to school, but really to start climbing more. One of my great childhood climbing partners, Griffin Whiteside, moved out here in 2011, and then I followed the coming year. And the first 2 years were pretty much college. It was a lot of drinking and
Never heard anybody.
climbing and skiing. And then as soon as, in 2015, I started the University of Utah climbing team, and then that kind of kicked off. So
you started the University
Yeah.
of Utah climbing team.
Yeah.
That's sick.
Really, like the first
'Cause
team ever.
I mean, it's now one of the best teams in the collegiate teams in the country. For sure.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So the funny thing is that the first climbing team at the University of Utah was climbing club was started by Conrad Anker. At the
No
University of
way.
Utah, yeah.
That's,
I didn't
well,
know
that's
that.
a little
So
bit
he
of
spoke
history.
at our commencement, like when I graduated the first time, he spoke at our commencement and went over and talked to him about it a little bit afterwards, and it was kind of cool.
That is nice.
That is
So
really cool.
now, I mean, Nathaniel was on the team the first year, and then Ben Tresco, and then myself, and then a bunch of other individuals that have become staples in the community here. And the team is still running strong.
Yeah.
And
Who did you hand it off to after?
Oh, so many people.
Yeah.
Like, we got banned one year.
That's a funny story, actually. You should tell that.
How did
Wasn't it that
University
you
of
were
Utah get
accidentally
banned?
using the copyrighted logo without permission, technically?
One of the few things I said was talk to the lawyers because, like, we have NCAA sports at the school. You need to go to the team of lawyers in order to get any use of the logo approved. And then they didn't do that. And then we got an email saying this team was banned. And I was still on the team at that time. I just passed it off. I was in
You're
school
like,
for
they
9
don't
years,
mean it.
so an undergrad and 2 masters. And they ended up printing shirts the night before nationals that had a skull on them. And on the forehead of the skull, it said Popowski, and then underneath of it, School of Climb. So somehow I got roped into having my last name on the team shirt. So we showed up to collegiate nationals, and nobody knew
What
what
college?
school.
What
They're
school
like,
this was
where
from.
are you guys from?
That's
Like,
actually
Popowski's from
Utah,
Climb.
duh.
I have a Popowski School of Climb shirt, actually.
I don't even have one of those.
Yeah, I got one.
They're very rare these
I've
days.
heard about these, and I'm desperate to get one. But
It's funny. Oh, yeah, well, so you've obviously been, like, super not invested, but, like, also invested, but integrated into climbing and the community for a long time. Like, both from starting that and you did youth climbing, right? When you were growing
Yeah,
up.
so, yeah.
And so you've been part of USA Climbing for a super long time as well. And now you're also the head of the USA Climbing Athlete Commission, which I'm on. And John Brosler was on, who also lives here. And
And is in the room
He's in the
presently.
Hi, John.
Hi, guys. So that's been interesting. So I serve as the chair for the AAC, Athletes Commission. I don't know if it's going to be called that now. And then I serve on the audit committee as well, which I don't think any other climber will ever want to serve on because nobody likes finance except for me, I guess.
I remember we were supposed to, like, have an athlete on the audit commission, and I was like, who the hell wants to be on the audit commission of USA Climbing? That sounds horrible. And then they're like, Danny Popowski is going to fill the athlete role. And I was like, that makes so much
Fitting.
sense.
yeah, he's the only person who can read numbers in the climbing community.
Even I get them mixed up sometimes still. But the Athletes Commission has been really interesting. I served on it for a little bit before becoming chair. And, I mean, the committee is basically tasked with representing the athletes within USA Climbing as a nonprofit, basically. Well, as a nonprofit and as an Olympic governing body. I mean, the role of the organization on the nonprofit side is to promote shareholder growth and value, and the shareholders in USA Climbing are the climbers.
Yeah.
And then as an Olympic governing body, a third of the organization has to be run by climbers. So all of the committees that are present within USA Climbing have at least a third of those committees made up of athletes. And then the AAC, I guess, is also involved with the oversight of a lot of, like, picking the athletes who will serve on those committees and so forth. But it's been a really interesting thing to be a part of, and there are a lot of interesting topics that have come up and that are of relevance to the community, to the climbers here on both the elite and youth levels. Yeah. So it's been really cool. I mean, some of the, we work a lot on team selection, so that involves everything from scoring and pointing of our national ranking system to team selection criteria for, even things coming down to the Olympics or World Cup eligibility. And we do a lot with the athlete contracts that's showing kind of like the responsibilities that our national team athletes have and so forth. But a lot of the time we'll just kind of sit down and discuss these topics with some level of initial framework and kind of bring all of our ideas into the room and prepare a statement or a set of recommendations to kind of bring to USA Climbing, which is a whole nother point, whole nother topic. I don't know if we want to break into that one.
Potentially not.
Maybe, yeah.
No, I'll say it. USA Climbing is kind of pivotal. No, I'm not.
It's a pivotal moment for sure.
No, yeah. Pivotal to the sport of climbing.
Pivotal. Is that the right word?
Pivotal. It's required.
I'd say the backbone of America.
Pivotal.
Is that what that
Well,
means?
pivot is changing, right?
Yeah, pivotal is like a change point.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with pivotal.
Well, actually, there could be changes. There's been like huge change in like how scoring systems worked and team selection has changed recently.
Yeah.
Like, how is the new US team selection actually going? Because just about everybody doesn't understand it unless you're actually very in it.
So I'm actually on the team selection committee, another committee of USA Climbing. USA Climbing is built on like the staff, And then there's also all of these committees of volunteers. And that's like the board is all volunteer. The athlete commission is all volunteer. The team selection committee is all volunteer. The people who write the rule book are also all volunteer. It's kind of insane, actually.
Yeah.
Like, some people basically work full-time jobs for USA Climbing just on a
volunteer
basis, just because they like it, which is nuts.
It's nuts.
Like, that kind of blew my mind when I learned that part.
It's a cool thing to be a part of.
It is cool to be a part of. But yeah, the team selection committee is one of the ones that I'm on. And it's obviously something I'm super passionate about, but it's super important to talk to the athlete commission and have people like Danny in charge, because he's not in it, whereas like I'm in it right now, and I want to make sure I'm not bringing my bias into it. And so that's why it was really cool when Danny got voted to be the chair, because you're connected to the community here, but you're not as invested in it personally. Just like,
it's just an unbiased opinion.
As far as like it doesn't affect you.
Yeah, it's been cool to help facilitate kind of bringing ideas to the table and trying to push them forward. And there are always things to try and push forward more. It's really interesting. There are a lot of great minds involved with USA Climbing and a lot of great ideas that get brought forward. And it's an interesting dynamic with actually trying to move those ideas forward. The really interesting thing with USA Climbing is that it's still a business and it still has to run, and events can't just get scheduled for the dates which work best for everybody that wants to compete, because the gyms also have to be taken into consideration. All the volunteers, travel, holidays, school schedules for athletes that are in college. There's a lot of things to be taken into consideration, and USA Climbing is always trying to do that best, but it doesn't always work. Like, the company has to run and achieve all of the tasks that it's set out to perform. And sometimes, or a lot of the times, they can't always align with everything that athletes want to have happen. So it's kind of a trial and error system to bring forth everything that you want to try and accomplish over time. Not trial and error, but it's like, if something doesn't work the first year, like, why were we not able to implement that, and how can we look at trying to put that into play in the future?
Yeah. Well, it's cool to see, like, coming from South Africa, where like our committee is also like volunteer based, but it's cool to see how much structure and like passion there actually is for the growth and development of the sport. Yeah. And like, it shows from just like the training center and how that's facilitated to a bunch of competitions to, like, there might be negative aspects, but it's for sure like net positive.
Totally.
Which and it's just cool to see the growth of the sport.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where you're doing a good job if everyone is a little unhappy. Because like everybody has like some gripe, but that means that you've been addressing most people's like big needs,
Yeah. If somebody was completely happy, then you've made a biased decision.
Yeah, then probably somebody else is unhappy.
Always going to be someone that's unhappy.
You can't please everybody.
And that's the reality of it, though.
Yeah. Right. And then, change topic completely. Climbing goals for you. You said you can't do V15 off the couch.
For me?
Do you want to elaborate?
Danny is maybe one of the strongest off the couch climbers.
It's getting harder as I get older.
As you ski more. That's why it's getting
harder.
harder.
Well, skiing doesn't involve my fingers, which are now getting hurt. And I work in commercial real estate, which is a total pivot from working as a setter and in the outdoor industry. I was a welder for Vertical Solutions. I've kind of been all over the place. So
an athlete rep for
Kylus.
I
don't know if that was a job. I don't think I really ever got paid.
You lived like 6 lives, I swear to God. It's kind of crazy.
Does it show on my face?
No.
It's been really cool. I think that I'm always trying to say yes to whatever opportunities come across the board. And I'm always just kind of waiting for the next season to get really motivated and put the goals into place and make things happen. And to be honest, they just happen eventually, It's just, if you want to
send...
So you just want to send your project, you just got to get to the gym.
It's going to let life
get stronger and make it happen. Like,
there you go.
There you go. You heard it here first.
That's how you said V14 and how you manifest V15.
Yeah. Yes. Try harder.
Just like show up, really.
Show up, yeah.
Yeah. I hope. We'll see. That's the ultimate goal. I can stop bouldering and start sport climbing permanently.
Is that when you'd quit, hey? You'd just be done.
Done bouldering.
When would you be done climbing? Like, completely? When would you never pick up your climbing shoes again?
Ooh, that's never going to happen.
Give us the moment.
Do you have a moment?
When I die.
Death, yeah.
Death. Absolute death. But when...
Well, do you die when you stop climbing?
Well, yes.
They're contingent on each other.
Yeah.
We just dissolve into thin air.
I'll
start
disappear.
melting.
I'll go back to Africa. Yeah, completely disappear.
Well, hopefully the goals happen soon. All of our goals.
Fair.
Bless you.
Sorry.
Bless you.
It's like a stomach growl too.
No, that was just me, I think. Sorry, I derailed. Okay,
Circling back.
circling back. Chris is about to forerun for our team trial event in Austin, Texas. Danny, you have had a ton of forerunning experience. What, Danny, for
Is this advice for
everybody.
Chris here?
Sure, this would be fun. You've done a bunch of forerunning for the World Cup in Salt Lake and events, and also in the training center all the time for us. What advice would you give Chris for this upcoming week?
Well, do you want to be a good forerunner or just a strong dude in the gym?
Which one makes my ego feel better?
Probably the strong dude in the gym.
Give it to me.
Yeah.
No, good forerunner.
No, so I don't know. I feel like I've gotten some shit for playing that role, but it's really, I don't know. I set for a long time. A lot of times when you're setting, especially if it's a standard competition, you have a qualifier round and then you have finals. If it's a World Cup, you have so many boulders to set. If it's youth nationals, it's a ridiculous amount of boulders to set. Long story short, the individual setting by the end of the setting period are pretty wrecked. So a lot of the time it can be pretty helpful to have somebody helping out with that.
Who's fresh?
Yeah. The shit talking is that the setters sometimes just want another setter to fill this role, but it's not. There are so many strong setters out there, and of course there's somebody else to fill the role, but having like an unbiased opinion sometimes is really helpful, or someone to step in at a later point in time when, after the boulders, after you haven't been staring at the boulder for a week or something like that. Yeah, it's helpful. And you can also, recommend tweaks or changes. I think you'll probably be getting on more so finished.
Yeah, that's kind of what I've been told. Like, get on finished rigs and try and break the beta if I think it's possible.
Yeah.
And if the beta gets broken, then tell them.
Well, also, if you try a boulder and then you hear kind of the setter's vision for a boulder or kind of what they were imagining, did they want something to feel uncomfortable or did they want something to be like a complex read, or was it coordination? As someone coming in from that outside viewpoint, you can sometimes, recommend, like when you looked at that boulder, what would have made that like kind of vision or sequence or progression happen more effectively when you look at it from that way. So it's just really giving helpful feedback. And it's been really cool to see that again. Starting off, just literally when I started setting at the front, I would only set boulders because no one else wanted to wreck themselves for running. And Mike would change the schedule every week or every semester when my school schedule changed.
So that you could go in?
Yeah, so they would set on the days that I didn't have class, which is really funny.
Nice.
Yeah, it was pretty
cool.
It's pretty ideal.
But, it can be really helpful. I'm really glad to have been able to partake in all of this. And partake and help across the board. It's definitely helped my climbing too.
Yeah, I bet.
So
that's one thing I've noticed, because I've forerunned twice now for the TC rounds, just with Josh, and reading boulders and then trying to execute and change beta has made me so much more aware of my intention when I get on the wall, because now Josh is has a very specific way he wants the boulder done, and I'm trying to do it that specific way, and it's just I have a new understanding for how I'm reading problems before I even start climbing, which is really cool, and it's benefiting me as an athlete.
Yeah.
And just to identify movement quickly.
Yeah, you were just telling me that you were feeling like mind and body were way more connected.
Yeah.
I bet that did have a lot
Well,
to do
you're
with it.
also
very aware
talking about the boulder in a different light.
Yeah.
You're talking about it with the person who set it, and you're able to look at it not as someone who just needs to get to the top. You're like, how is this section supposed to feel? You take the top totally out of.
It takes ego a little bit out of it as well.
Exactly. You can never take
all the ego off.
the ego out of Chris. But I do think, maybe here's some shit talking. I do really think even in commercial route setting, forerunning is super important. And Mike Bacchino absolutely drilled this into my head when I was setting with him.
Another Salt Lake legend, Mike Bacchino.
Yeah.
He'll be on here eventually.
Yeah.
But he drilled that into your head?
Yeah, forerunning's really important. If something's uncomfortable in a commercial setting, you just change it. You just put on another foot.
Yeah, that's fair.
honestly, in a commercial setting, it's people are going to be climbing that boulder for
fun.
so long. So it's like
enjoyments.
If your setting vision is determined by 1 foot, I mean, okay, here's my real hot take. Fuck your vision and just put another foot on so that people can feel comfortable climbing that for the next 6 weeks, especially if it's a V6 in a roof. Just put another foot on.
Another foot.
Also, climbing is just arbitrary. You could always just, if I wanted that climb to be harder for me, being a gym patron, I could just do it without that foot.
Yeah. I mean...
But that's not really an option in a comp.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fair.
I mean, harder boulders also just inherently become more uncomfortable.
Also true.
So...
I don't know, have you climbed Rocklands?
I have.
Those hard boulders are very comfortable.
But, yeah, except for the ones where I can't span between the holds.
That's because you're very little.
Like, Royksop?
Royksop?
Yep. Is that the one where Pinotage to the left Pinotage?
No.
Oh, no, that's Shoshiloza, dude.
Yeah, Shoshiloza.
Royksop is the pocket one.
Yeah.
Oh, I did that one.
Yeah.
That one has a crazy heel hook. I could not do it.
Pretty nuts.
I watched Brooke Rabbit do that one. That was nuts. She was so small on it and just
made it work.
It was sick.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking about Rocklands.
Can we go to Rocklands? I want to go to Rocklands.
I'm also thinking about Rocklands now.
This is going with us, all the South African homies. We're all thinking about Rocklands.
Where else
How long
we
has
got?
this been going?
So you gave us a hot take now.
Oh yeah, so we can go to hot takes.
Oh no.
You just gave us a hot take.
Yeah.
What? Commercial route setting hot take?
Oh, we didn't ask him to tell us what his billboard saying would be.
Yeah.
So if you could put one thing on a billboard.
What is your mantra for life?
Everybody could see that you could put out into the world.
Besides Danny Popowski, scooter climbing.
Oh, jeez.
We can circle back in a sec if you wanna.
Yeah.
Or we can just cut it.
Oh, I just had a good one. I saw it on a poster the other day.
You can take a poster.
I can't remember what the poster
is it like the cat hanging off the tree and it just says hang in there?
Oh, this can be a picture too.
Where did this just come up? That just came up. Sorry.
Really?
Yeah.
I just pulled that one out the
No
archive.
way. I think that was in...
It was core memory.
I think that was in Last of Us or something. Anyway.
It might have been, actually.
Okay, Danny's hot take is he can barely handle Instagram.
No, that's a bad one.
We will cut that out. That's because you have a brain of a toddler, dude.
Honestly, keep that in there.
I mean, it's a good one. Social media is hard.
Yeah, social media is hard. Hot take.
Fair.
I find it pretty easy, so I'll call it a hot take.
I don't think I've posted in a year. It just stopped.
Everybody follow Danny. It's Danny Climbs on Instagram.
Danny Climbs 7.
Danny Climbs 7.
Don't click on
Danny Climbs 69.
Or Danny Climbs 71.
Wow. A lot of Danny Climbs out there.
That would be the University of Utah climbing team kids.
That's what you get for starting a climbing team at a college.
Well, they also made the Instagram accounts, post a bunch of ridiculous shit, which you guys can't see because it's private, and then lost the password. So now every time somebody looks me up, it's Danny Climbs 69, Danny Climbs 7, Danny Climbs 71. So I'm bracketed by Danny Climbs 69 and 71.
Oh,
wonderful.
No.
I think I am, at least. You guys can tell me.
You can change your Instagram name.
Can you?
If you wanted to, yeah.
No.
Wow.
I never checked if Danny Climbs was taken.
Danny Climbs
You just went for the
68.
7 immediately?
68.
Funny story. This is a very side note, but there's a bunch of people who have it's like Brooke Climbs on Instagram. It's Brooke's Colin Climbs on Instagram, right? Those are their...
I was the original.
You were the original, maybe. But we were somewhere, and somebody was like, oh... To Colin, he was like, oh, Brooke is your sister, right?
Your sister.
And he was like, no? Where did you get that? They're like, your last name is the same. And he was like, what? And I was like, no, it's both Climbs.
And you're like,
oh my gosh.
I thought it was really funny.
Yeah.
You guys are all related.
Yeah.
One big climbing family.
Congratulations, you have more children now.
Chris has been trying to get me to adopt him. You know.
No longer.
No longer necessary.
Immigration papers are hopefully on their way. One small fucking step.
All right. Do you have your billboard saying? Did you think of one?
Social media is hard.
That's a good one. That could be on a billboard.
No.
Don't do it while driving.
Yeah.
That's a really
Don't
bad
text
one.
and drive.
Don't text and drive. Danny's billboard. Fuck yeah.
Is that really the bad?
Could be.
My biggest life problem is I don't think I'm witty. Or quick.
It doesn't even...
Quick's a better one. Yeah, well, you're hot take. What would you put on a billboard? I'm like, I don't know.
Normally we warn you.
Yeah, normally you do some
about
inside
it.
prep, but
Yeah. You gave us a hot
we wanted
take.
to throw you into the deep end.
Perfect.
All right.
I'll remember that next time.
Next time. Fair. Oh, Danny, thank you for coming, sir.
Absolutely.
Unreal.
Thanks for watching.